22, the 5th and 6th year unit. Welcome to camp. Geraldine Griffith, camp 5th and 6th year counselor. Here we go. Here it is. This is a privacy screen for the staff bathroom. It's almost there. Y'all come out from behind it so we can see you. Ta-da!
You all stand in front of it like this.
Go behind it and see if we can see you behind it. Nope.
Oh, well, I saw what you were doing. Shame on you. Shame your mind.
This is their service project, camp improvement project for their 6-year program. Very nice. Very nice. Congratulations. And you can see it works. You cannot see who just went in the bathroom. Over and out.
Not through yet.
I am so impressed.
Huh?
You all did so good.
Yeah.
Sister Arlene Vargas. Good.
I look well.
You do.
This is what camp does to you.
Yeah. You're right.
See that?
Mm-hmm.
That was my suggestion about 5 years ago. 5 years ago, a long time ago.
Very good.
Very nice.
Very good. You're right. Thanks, Sister B. Joy Brunson.
About half an hour. No, about an hour because we had it moved all in and put it away and stuff. You didn't hear us hammering? Was it fun? Yeah. They had a no, it wasn't. You're just lying to make me go. They had a great time. He showed They're a bunch of first years. They're nuts. Over, get in the water, climb out, climb in. Turn that.
Two typical junior counselors. No, assistant counselors. Alexis, Michelle, Hayden, and Andrea Dunlap. Andrea is assistant counselor on a 1st year unit. Alexis Hayden is assistant counselor on a 3rd year unit. Yes. Andrea was Liahona a couple of years ago.
I was worried about my granddaughter.
Let's go get the other bag too.
Then I was worried about her.
Joy. Good morning, 1B.
Morning. Bye. Sister Missy. Goodbye, Miss Sister Hayden. Hi.
Don't move. I'll bring orange juice all over you. You want to be more orange than you are? I'll just do like this and get one of Megan's gloves and then I'll go ding over the table and place your face on.
What you think of
Wendy, what'd she say? Definitely she wants to go clean your side. Making orange juice. Hey, you shoved my glove off! Oh. Someone want to get a twig right there? She's recording. Recording what? You mess ups? You are mess ups? Yeah, there's an idea. It would be so much easier if I had my other fire. Really? Oh, hi.
Beginning of a first-year fire. We'll come back and see what it looks like after a while.
Camera lady. Smile, Courtney.
Here.
I'll make Courtney.
Oh, Jimmy. I'm in charge of building the fire today.
Is that your fire? Right, you're too close.
It's my fire.
All right.
It's my fire.
Good.
How many eggs do you have?
4.
Good fire.
You want me to put the other ones?
We'll go with that and then we'll make it the rest of that.
Me and her.
We don't want to have too much in there because then if it goes too deep. You already went through the spreadsheet?
Yeah, and I explained about the height tomorrow. When it goes slow, the slowest person, everyone gets to lead.
Yeah, I know, Brady.
Everyone gets to lead, and with the hoe, they have to be. They thought it was going to be 5 hours long. I said, no, unless you walk extremely slow.
Sure, I'll make sure they walk extremely slow.
I mean, like,
We don't have to walk that slow. But you're gonna have to remember I'm gonna have to have some rest periods too.
yeah. And
Canoe day, canoe day.
You got a hard job. I don't have weight on my shoulder. Wait a second, y'all are pushing me. I have the weight on my
Does this mean I have to move? All right. Do I have to move? I'm getting you on film if you fall in.
oh no! America's funniest video.
Yes. I hope y'all shaved under your arms. I hope y'all shaved your arms. Did y'all shave under your arms?
I hope so.
Oh, gosh, y'all are funny.
Wait, y'all, it's going too fast. Slow down back there. Our speed.
Okay, you can lower it down.
Let's slow it.
Oh my gosh.
Cute. Cute, Rhonda. How'd you manage not to get one? Lucky for you, huh?
The easiest way to carry is to let that bar rest on the back of your shoulder. Got it? All right. There you go.
Oh, what happened? Who stopped carrying?
Who's in the front?
I made y'all stop. You're going too fast.
Who's in the front? Oh, it's you. Okay.
You're still going too fast.
Or as good as boy canoe.
Or better.
Well, Sister Brunson, you probably ought to know that I was taught by a Girl Scout leader
Oh yeah.
and her Girl Scout.
And her Girl Scout.
Now, but they did bring a token man. Yeah, I shouldn't admit this for all these women. But they have problems with the man learning from women, and so they bring a token man along who doesn't know as much as they do, just so the men will listen to him.
Joking on that? Joking on that? See, just so that the guys would listen when they had a man there.
But they handle the canoes. They're throwing them up on top of the racks and tying them down and teaching me how to do it and everything.
He did say we learned that because we don't think we know everything already. We know that we don't, but I think sometimes we do scream more. A lot. Anyway, we're gonna have an opening prayer.
We'll see how this thing works out here. Okay, you don't what?
I like the paints right.
You don't like the leg?
You're very good.
No, it's fine. We scared all the snakes away yesterday. Oh, I'm just trying to paddle backwards here. Okay, you're good. Go ahead and put the brakes on.
What?
All right.
What there?
Okay, just stay right there.
Okay, guys, listen up.
Hold the canoe. Put your hand on the side so when you pop out, you won't flip it. Megan might not appreciate that. Get back over your
Say Megan is. You're like, oh my gosh. I know, that's what I was.
Okay. You just pop out. And if it's deeper, you can go down.
Ah,
Can you catch these? Or find them? Ooh, sorry.
It's okay.
You can either put it inside the pocket there, or you can take it and put it on the table. To get back in the canoe, now Megan, what I want you to do is sit on the bottom. This is what you'll do with your partner.
In front or behind?
In behind. Sit her down on the bottom. That puts the weight low, so it won't flip over so easy. And then you gotta
Look at her.
like this.
You don't have to. It's okay.
Sorry.
y'all visualize Vivian there.
Yes.
Roll over in the canoe.
I'm visualizing this.
Hey, I thought you were going to do it right.
What?
I think he needs a hand. That was pretty good. All right, he did it.
It's a very graceful move.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Melissa,
Yes.
you want to go ahead and flip your canoe now? Okay. Just grab the sides and roll over.
She said not exactly. You didn't hear her answer.
You're not listening to her.
I'm flipping the canoe over. Where do the paddles?
Just let them inside.
Throw me. Alright.
This will be part of what you do. What you should do is hang on to your paddle when you flip over because you don't want to lose it.
What's the purpose of flipping over?
So he's teaching us. He's
Oh.
showing us. So if you did flip, you're not frightened. He shows you.
Oh.
But don't they float? Don't the paddles float?
Yes, they do. They float downstream at 4 miles an hour if you're in a moving river.
Ready? No.
And if you can't swim that fast, you can't catch
Then
up.
what are y'all doing?
Well, because we're going to rescue you.
Can you rescue us? Ready? Yeah, I'll rescue you. No, I don't
Flip.
think so. Ready? Go ahead. I'll go first. No, flipping it over.
Just hold the sides and roll.
Oh, not yet.
Ready?
Don't
1,
dive and crack your neck or anything.
3, roll!
Good.
Yay!
Now we're going to do a canoe rescue. If you're in shallow water, you can turn the canoe over yourself.
Alright, turn over. I don't like it.
What we want to do is make a big T.
Because he said if you know how to do this, you're not near as frightened when you're out there, because it's not that hard.
I gotta get on the other side.
First, we're going to get here at the end.
Oh, it was tip?
Too bad. I have to get on the other side. I don't have to be in the back.
Okay, Jennifer, can you get on the other side? All right, we'll give you room here.
Do you have time to turn and smile, girls?
While you're drowning.
She's so small she can't even have that canoe down.
Okay, reach out and pull over. You're doing it. Reach out like this. There you go.
About 500, 600.
Okay. Then what we want to do is reach down and grab this canoe. Now we're going to tip it to the side here.
No.
Now, but let's just see if you can grab that edge and rock it over. Grab up high on the thwart. There you go. Pull the side down. Just pull it over. Okay, Megan, grab that.
This is when somebody's with you, huh?
Then you just work it across.
This is a rescue.
Oh, okay.
Now we're going to try to keep our big T here because it helps us stay stable.
You rescued the canoe,
Now you
turn
see
it
that the
over.
canoe's banging this side over here. You probably can't see it. This part's poking down under the side. You tip it like this. See how Megan leaning over?
Yeah.
And then it goes across. Now Megan, grab that side and pull it across together.
Cool.
So you're going to get that canoe up there and get all the water. See how it's still coming out the end?
And we let it drain for a little bit.
They still are still in the water, right?
Yeah. But they got their life
But they're
jackets
flat.
on.
They're fine because they're.
And they're not panicking, you see.
Okay. Now Megan's going to do the hard work here. Okay, Megan, pull the canoe towards you.
All in water.
And then you're just going to slip it. No, stay good. Okay, Megan, pull it over. So I'll catch you on this side.
What a woman.
Then you hope you don't fall.
Okay, then Megan and I just push it over to the side here.
Now the getting in is the
Now
hard
Melissa
part.
and Jennifer are going to demonstrate how to get in a canoe without filling it full of water.
Yeah, right.
I saw one of them.
Yeah. When Geneva got back in yesterday,
Okay, Jennifer,
when
you
it was
hold the
fine
far
when she got
side.
in, they got the whole thing full of water and it just sunk again.
Hey, I'd be in her same shoes.
And they rode it all the way back up here full of water.
Jennifer has to let the canoe rock over some so Melissa can get in. Okay, so roll over on your back. Roll over on your back now.
Water get in. See, the girl on this side has to let it up.
Yay, she did it.
Pull it down. Go, Melissa!
Melissa to get flat in the bottom and then you can roll in.
That's a lot of work. Go low.
Oh, Megan.
Megan, that was cool.
Now, Melissa has to kind of lean that way and let her in and then lean back at the right time.
All right, they did it.
Yay! Rescue! Very graceful. 911. Oh, 911.
Let's have everybody grab a partner and a canoe.
You taking yours off? I'm taking mine off.
And then I'll give you, make sure that you're the right amount of people.
Mr. Brunson, can you be helping him in? I'll go out in the water.
I am.
Come right out here, Megan and Megan.
Michelle! Michelle! Use your paddle. Use your paddle to push off.
Okay, our jacket's on. All right, just roll it. The easiest way to roll it is grab the side. Okay, jump out of the canoe. One at a time. Make it in the front. Jump out in the water without...
Put your hand up on top of the handle.
No, we're just like major good.
Y'all put your hand up on top of the handle. It's easier to paddle. Up.
On top?
Uh-huh. There you go. Yeah, you got it. Hey, you guys, put your hands on top of the handle. It's easier. Like that. There you go. Watch behind you, Miriam. Behind you.
They still in the water?
Yeah. They're fixing to be rescued. Help me, help me. Deep water, ain't it? Three A. There's.
Oh no! Oh, I don't want you to do that. No, no.
This is our fabulous assistant counselor teaching these girls the proper method in starting a fire. Are y'all
Tired of fanning it.
Are y'all learning anything from this?
Learn how to start fires.
Yeah, yeah, like this, you're set for life.
What a woman.
So we talked yesterday. It was ideal.
That must be a teepee fire you're building, right?
Sort of.
Bye.
So you going around to different slides? Hi!
Hey.
Kelly's like,
Kelly goes the opposite way.
Too late.
I go right in the camera.
Who are you guys?
Here's the spot right here. Start it
Take your fingernail, Shay. Shay, take your fingernail and get some of the wax off of it on the side.
Lady burner. In her lap.
See, I know what I'm doing. Egg won't crack. Who doesn't have any medicine? There's some over there.
They're all near to bed.
Whose are they?
Whoever doesn't have one.
Look at this.
Is there another one?
Where are some?
His is
On the table?
what?
What? What does it matter?
What are y'all fixing this morning?
Oh, no.
Eggs and sausage.
If we get it, the buddy burner started.
Is there any extra one? You can't crack that egg. Shay, if you sit by me, you can sit on half of my towel.
Huh?
Okay.
Won't crack.
Right here? Okay.
Won't crack.
Can you get over here? I know. That egg's gonna blast. You hit that hard, too.
You got trick eggs today?
Yep, I guess so.
They do. That's why sister
April Fools!
Frozen. They won't bake.
or they're boiled. Boiled ones are going to break.
They won't break.
Throw it against the ground.
Hi, Bishop.
Say peace.
Hey, fat boy.
You're on candid camera.
Here, you gotta show you my tie they made for me. I want some water back.
Oh, don't lose my camera. You videotape.
Now, where'd my niece go? Susie?
Yuri, don't do it so fast.
I'm Gary, and then it had Bishop written above it.
Oh, Susan.
Get Susan's face. Do the look with me.
Hi, Uncle Gary Bishop.
Okay, look together. Oh, you got
Get it out of my face now.
You have to get.
Oh, I thought they were getting ready to suck a cow or something.
Do the look. Do it.
Sister Hayden.
We're fine. We're fine.
Here's Ginger trying to get fat, eating. It's not working. What?
My name is Liahona, and I'm here tonight to tell you of my heritage. The morning was early. It was a bright day, still silent in sleep as the sun laid long shadows among the trees, and a breeze whispered promises of great things to come. I moved among the trees, and then out into a clearing to the edge of the shining stream. It ran down from the hill, across the meadow, and was lost again in the trees. At the edge of the stream, I stopped and stooped down to look into the still water. The face staring back at me was that of an Indian girl, skin darkly smooth, and eyes so blue they seemed black in the shadowy reflection. This is the day of my womanhood, I thought. The 18th year of my life begins today. I am no longer a child, but a woman. And then I thought of what lay ahead. In a few moments, the sleeping village behind me would begin the toil of the new day. And then I must go into the tent of my grandmother, where she would tell me many things concerning the new responsibilities of my womanhood. Then for a moment, forgetting grandmother and the thought of the new responsibilities, I slipped off the long narrow dress and stepped into the icy clear water, carefully holding my hair, as it had been washed the day before in honor of the day's events. Then I spent a long moment wondering if grandmother had ever been young, had ever felt her blood race tingling through her body at the embrace of clean, cool water. The face of the old woman was lined and leathery and looked eternally old. I tried to think of her with legs. I had only ever seen the old woman in a long robe, walking supported by two of the old men of the tribe, or sitting, staring straight ahead. I wondered if she had ever run in the morning sunlight, or sat breathlessly watching the sunrise spread across the gray sky. Finally, I decided grandmother must have always been old, always concerned with dull, obscure problems. Then I climbed out of the water and stood for a moment, letting the water run off my body before slipping on the dress again. I smoothed my hair and then looked back into the still pool. I looked no different, but I would try to look more like the woman I had become. Then, going by the village, I saw the smoke curling up now from the teepees, and hear a voice call out, and a baby cry, and a dog bark. It was a day, my day, and I felt a sudden longing to retreat back to my childhood, to run away into the woods and hunt berries with the other children, or climb trees as I had once done. But still, the thought of my grandmother came back to me. She was the oldest person in the tribe, stern, unlaughing, with penetrating sharp eyes that seemed to look into all the secret places of the mind. She was held in high respect, even by the men of the tribe. The chief often consulted with her when any important decision was to be made. As I reached the teepee, the morning meal was over, and my three older brothers had gone hunting with my father. Mother combed my hair. When she was finished, she laid her cheek next to mine and said, Peace go with you, my daughter, and courage as you become a woman. Your father's mother awaits you. Go to her and she will tell you of your heritage. I waited a long moment and then walked across the open space between the teepees. No one spoke to me directly, and no one would, from the time I left home until I stood before my grandmother. And when I walked back across the village, I would be different. My mind would be filled with new thoughts, and my heart open to new feelings. Almost numbly I walked, my heart pounding in my chest, and my eyes staring straight ahead. I was an Indian maiden, daughter of a chief, mother perhaps of future chief, and I would face this experience with courage and calmness, even though I was afraid and unsure. As I stepped into the teepee, I felt the softness of thick animal fur beneath my feet, and there was a smell of age and awe. I looked up to see grandmother, seated on a pile of furs, watching me with those deep-set, all-seeing eyes. "Welcome, granddaughter," she said, in a voice surprisingly strong for such a small and withered body. "I have awaited this hour from the day of your birth, Liahona." The word leaped out at me like a living thing from the darkened room, and I felt a shock at the same instant. The grip of my grandmother's hand tightened in mine, and I realized that she had never touched me before. "Sit down, my child," she said, as she pulled me close. A feeling came over me as though there were nothing outside this dim space. No sun, no other people, no woods and no village. Just me and this incredible old woman.
Happy meal. There's no...
Silence hung between us for many moments. And in the silence, I listened to the sound of my name and felt that it had never before been spoken. "I have many words to speak to you today, my child," the old woman said. "I have watched you grow, like a pine tree, straight and tall among the people in this land of our fathers. Your growing has not only been of the body, but of the mind and of the spirit. And even though you are still very young, today you have become a woman." There was a long pause as she seemed to gather strength from my hands. Pulling her thoughts together, grandmother continued. "Your name is Liahona." Again, the name sounded between us like a call. "It is my name too," she told me softly. I had no idea of this, and for the first time I felt something other than fear for this old woman. I felt almost a part of her, as though the years between us had no meaning, and we had become this day, heart to heart. Then grandmother continued. "Since the time of the great white god with the beard, there has always been a Liahona among our people. Many, many generations ago, our fathers traveled from a far country across the big waters to find peace and a free posterity in the promised land. Guided by the Great Spirit, they crossed the lands and the seas until it was made known to them that they had reached the place they sought. And the Great Spirit, which is God, guided them by means of a ball, which he made for them and called Liahona. It was their compass in the wilderness. Its needle pointed the way, but only according to their faith. And sometimes, too, writing would appear on the Liahona, which was plain to read, and which gave understanding concerning the ways of the Lord, but only according to the faith of our fathers, and their willingness to be led by it. Then, without thinking, I interrupted. When was this? How could a ball have writing on it? What did the ball look like? Then, conscious of my interruption, I lowered my eyes. Grandmother smiled and said gently, "I would have you interested in these matters. I cannot answer all things, but I can say that these things took place many generations before the coming of the great white God among our people. The ball was made not of man, but of God, so that marks could be made upon it by the hand of the God of our fathers, who was and is the great white Spirit. I know not where the ball is now, but its power was lost, because our fathers lost faith and turned to wickedness. For many years after this compass was lost, our fathers knew poverty and misfortune, as they failed to listen to the voice of the Lord through his servants. But there was one, however, who did hear and understand, and because of faith, became a powerful for good among our people for many years. It was a woman, the first to be named after this great compass of ancient times. A woman named Liahona. This first Liahona was born a daughter of Nephi, who was chosen among men to be a servant of God. Her father had talked with God before she was born and was blessed among men. Her father's father had predicted her birth and her destiny to guide many in righteousness. He too had been a man of God and had been given great power. His eyes were open to the things that were to come. And when this first Liahona, his granddaughter, was born, he gave her a blessing that was to reach into all the generations of her daughters. His blessing was this: Liahona, thou art blessed of God. As of old, when the children of God were led through the wilderness, guided by an instrument fashioned in the hand of God, so shall the children of this generation look to thee for example. In troubled times thou shalt be strong and quick to endure. In times of prosperity thou shalt be humble and keep faith. Thou art a spirit, chosen before thou was born. You were chosen to stand before men to be a light unto them. And through thee and thy people shall each generation of thy people be blessed. Though thy people perish, thy posterity shall be preserved until the last days, when the truth is made known unto the Gentiles. Thy name shall be upon thy daughters until this time is fulfilled. In the hush that fell on the dim interior of grandmother's teepee, after these words were uttered, I sat lifted up in the spirit to a reunion with the generations who had previously borne my name. Then grandmother continued. Often in the days of her youth, this first Liahona heard the sacred words of her blessing, and she came to know of this journey through the wilderness and across the sea. In womanhood, she stood in the presence of the great white God and became a strength to the men he had chosen to serve him. She was very fair, even when age was upon her. Her hair was the color of the sun, and her skin was as white as the pale moon, and her eyes were as blue as the deepest places of the sea. Her beauty was not to stir the passions of men, however, but to inspire their spirits. In love and esteem she was held all the days of her life. In the 15th generation from this first Liahona, wickedness crept among the people of Liahona. And in the 16th generation, the daughter of Liahona fled from among her people to live in the midst of the dark-skinned enemies, where she found a hungering for righteousness with a few and found love with one. Since that time, the daughters of Liahona have been dark-skinned and had looked to the time of the promise when whiteness would return to their people. Your eyes are blue, granddaughter, as are mine, and we two alone are thus marked among our people. In the 20th generation, the fair-skinned people were destroyed because of wickedness, and you and I are remnants of both people. When the child of my later years was the fourth son, I wondered how this prophecy was to be fulfilled. And when the first three children had sons, I knew I would carry the weight of years long before I could lay down the burdens of life. But when finally you were born, I could number the years of my life. And now I am free to go, having kept the faith in telling you of your heritage. Oh no, I said, you can't leave me now. I never knew you before. And now that I do, we must not be separated. I need your help. You call me a woman, but I'm young and foolish, and I'm not the strength or power to be a light unto anyone, hardly even to myself. Then the old woman smiled and said softly, each of us must begin somewhere, and no one else can make your mistakes for you. My mission is complete, and yours is just beginning. Now listen to me, my child. No woman assumes authority in this tribe. This is for the men. A woman shines as a good example. Unless you are asked, do not attempt to help with the decision. It is in the home, with your children, with the sick, with the old, and with your husband that a woman's responsibility lies. You will not fail to honor your heritage if you do not seek power outside your own place. Great trials lie in store for you, my child, and I feel that the last days are not far off.
great joys and great trials will come. And it is a tradition among our people that many lost things will be restored to us, both in writing and in power. It is said that when a fair-skinned people come among us, some of them will bring a message, which is the fullness of the faith of our fathers. And we will know them, and they will say to us, my sister and my brother. More than this I cannot tell you. Through the day, I stayed with grandmother, learning the tales of my father. I took the blessing of Liahona into my mind and my heart. And then once again, as long shadows stretched across the village, I walked back to my home. My heart was singing, and I was happy. Happy for the hearing, afraid for the doing. Through the night I lay awake, staring into the darkness and remembering the words I had heard. Then, towards morning, I thought I heard grandmother call. With speed, I ran back to the teepee, and with love, I held the withered hand and stared into the dark eyes of the shadow of death. And when at last the breathing of the old woman was still, I knew that she had left the tired old body. And the tears that fell on the lifeless hand were for my own weakness and loneliness. In the morning, I walked again beside the stream and looked again into the still pool. Age had not marked my face, but with my knowledge, I now looked less carefree and childlike, and more mature and deeply happy. I walked beside the stream toward the trees to the east, and I knew I walked not alone. I walked further than I had ever walked before, and came to a path leading up from the stream that I had never seen. I walked without thinking, and saw strange wagons wheeled into a sort of circle. The wagons were high covered tarpaulins, like rounded tents. I saw fires and heard voices, and watched people moving between the wagons. Most of the people had coverings on their heads against the sun, but here and there were children running bareheaded. Their hair was as bright in the sunlight as the yellow corn. I was so surprised and amazed to see the yellow-haired children that I did not hear the footsteps on the dusty path behind me. And then suddenly, when I turned to flee, there stood a tall young man. He was taller than even my father, but his language was not known to me. I tried to speak, but no words came. Then, seeking to move around him and follow the path back to the stream, I felt his hand on my arm, and he held out some food that he was eating. I remembered that I'd forgotten breakfast and my hunger for food. Shyly, I accepted this strange new food and found it sweet to my lips. I walked slowly back to the stream and was kneeling to drink from the water when a young man held out a round vessel filled with the sparkling water. I drank, letting the water trickle down my chin for this strange new way of drinking I had never known. And when I was finished, I looked up to find the young man smiling, and laughter grew between us until no words were needed. It was much later when we returned to the village, the young man by my side. I had learned a few of his words, for we shared the same language known to all that are young and in love. In the years that came, the Indian village and the settlers' camp grew together and became a town. And we were married, and blessed in the first year of our marriage with a happy, laughing baby girl. We named the child Liahona, Liahona Williams. Before the child was more than a year old, two fair young men came into the town and into our home. They gave us a book and told us of the wilderness crossings and many other previous truths. And when we had read the book, I knew that the last days of the earth had come, and that the truth had come from among the Gentiles, and that in my daughter Liahona, the time that God had spoken of in the blessing would be fulfilled.
Where'd she go?
She's in there.
Hey, Bishop!
gotta say goodbye. Say hi and goodbye.
Y'all heading out, huh?
Yeah, we got to.
I'm not telling you goodbye.
We have to be at the temple. No.
I'm not telling you goodbye.
Well, I got a good location too.
Look, I found another one.
Let's take it. Couldn't handle it, huh? Have you seen this before? I've seen it for 7 years.
I bet it was different this time.
Yep. Huh? Yeah. I was sitting up front in the mud there. And I don't want to dust off or I'll get sand in the camera. I don't want to. Oh shit, you see what?
I can't take a picture of her. She's turned around.
I think it's perfect that she showed up. Turn around. What's her name? No. You enjoy that? You like being down there?
I think that was a really good idea.
I think it was too. Just added that touch. Every year they try to add something new. And Alexis thought of that because of Katie, and then she never could get Katie up here because of her schedule. So she thought she was going to have to blow it off.
I told Ray go ahead and bring Amy up here. I said, Amy would enjoy that Liahona. And I said, since we sleep in the trailer, she won't be bothering about it.
Yeah, I'm glad he did.
But that gives it a good touch.
It does. Good after where she is. Why don't you shoot this for a minute for me? I'm going to try to dust off. Just any of the crowd.
How do you do it? I've never done it.
It's on right now. It's shooting.
You know how to work this thing?
No. Okay, well, it's shooting right now. Don't turn it off.
Okay, how do you turn it off?
Well, over here on this side. Here.
Where?
Let go up there. Let go. I got it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, put your hands through there. Okay. You turn it off and on with your thumb on this side.
Where?
Right there. Look in.
Alexis. Yolanda.
Oh, stop
Ninety-two, 91, 90, 89, 88, Liahona.
Liahona night is over. She's over there. Go film her. Hi, Lexi, Joe.
Christina.
We are Bacoodles.
Let's do the commercial for
No, wait, no.
I'm Emily. We're here to pump you up. We're from Bacoodles. Never mind.
11 o'clock. Does your mother know where you are?
No, she doesn't. She should be on a plane an hour into Utah. On her way to Hamster. So are you excited, Bishop Hayden? Do you feel excited?
Fired up.
Fired up.
Loretta cooling off her face.